So I'm immigrant founder. Originally, I came from China, and we noticed that there's a really large gap for microplastics, and then they can enter our brain, and then we have built the world's first microplastic removal pilot.
What is PolyGone Systems do, and what is actually you trying to change?
PolyGone stands for getting rid of plastics. So our mission is really to target on the microplastic pollutants from our waterways. But I'm very glad that we've been working on the project for 4 years now, and then we have built the world's first microplastic removal pilot last year in New Jersey.
Let's talk about the Forbes 30 under 30 fellow. You were part of that. I'm just curious to understand how did you selected, and what does it mean for you to be part of that list?
I was on the plane when they announced
Right.
it. And then I landed in America, and then the first thing I saw on my phone was like, "Congratulations, you are in the cohort." I was like, "What?" That completely unexpected.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Visa to Venture podcast. In today's episode, I have an inspiring entrepreneur, Yidian Liu, the co-founder of PolyGone Systems. This is an amazing company. PolyGone Systems develop innovative filtration technology to intercept, recover, and upcycle microplastics from rivers, reservoirs, and wastewater. She's a Forbes 30 under 30 fellow, an immigrant, and has an amazing visa journey to where she is now. The company raised over $2 million in financing, and we're gonna hear her journey from coming to the United States all the way where she is now. Super excited about this episode. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Well, first of all, Yidian, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and share your story with us. I know that you have a beautiful story to share, and I appreciate you being here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jacob, for having me today.
And where are you now? Why don't you tell us a little bit? Because people who watch the video are going to see a big commercial thing behind you. But where are you now?
Currently in our new office. So we're right outside of New York City, near like Jersey City area. We recently moved into our new premises because we need more space for assembly.
Right. And I in the introduction I introduced you a little bit about and what the company does. But why don't you tell me in your own words what is PolyGone Systems do, and what is actually you trying to change?
Yeah, absolutely. So PolyGone stands for getting rid of plastics. So our mission is really to target on the microplastic pollutants from our waterways. And we're developing filtration systems that collects those pollutants from wastewater effluents, reservoirs, rivers, and etc. So really is to become the last barrier to protect our water before it becomes a threat to our health.
Love that. Yeah, there's so much going on right now where people are trying to get healthier. They're trying to you know get things from their food that they don't realize that just having the plastic bottle or living in the car even, I realized that can cause so much damage. And those are small
Exactly.
things. I think that's amazing what you're doing. But before we even get there, I'm always curious to know how people are getting this. So I know you're not from the US originally. So maybe you can share us a little bit of your background. Where are you from, and how did you even get to the US to start your journey?
Absolutely. So I'm a immigrant founder. Originally, I came from China, and I went to the US for undergrad. So I actually studied architecture for both my undergrad and my
Oh,
graduate degree. Yeah, it's kind of a different background for most people who are in the water industry. So after my undergrad, I actually worked as an architect for a few years and then went back to Princeton for my graduate degree. And the reason is that I was really involved in a lot of commercial developments, and I feel like a lot of the work we are doing is purely aesthetics driven, and there's no real impact we can make from building those projects. I feel like as designers, we also should have social responsibility. So we should actually look at how our city is being managed and structured, and how can we utilize our design skills to make our built environment a better place. And that inspired me to go back to school. And I was actually looking into waste infrastructure.
Oh, well,
And my co-founder and I were both really keen on using design technology to improve waste infrastructure. So our starting point was plastic recycling plants. We did a lot of surveys, analysis of how plastics are being managed,
right.
sorted, and recycled. And then we realized that there's actually a lot of technologies coming out to target those areas. And we noticed that there's a really large gap for microplastics, which refers to plastic particles that are smaller than 5 millimeters in size. And at that scale, it's really easy for people to not be able to see them because they're so
Of course.
small, and then they can penetrate all of our organs into our like blood tissue, and some of them even enters our brain. So it is actually a huge threat facing our next generation. And those microplastics enter our water system through very different avenues. Some of them came
Right.
from mismanaged waste, some of them came from just chemical effluents. So we're actually thinking, okay, how can we design a system that can actively address this gap and protect our waterways? And that's what inspired us to work together on PolyGone. So we started as a research project at Princeton. Following graduation, we decided to make it into a real business. And unfortunately, both my co-founder and myself are immigrants. So it's really difficult for us to put together a business in the US. But I'm very glad that we've been working on the project for 4 years now, and then we have built the world's first microplastic removal pilot last year in New Jersey. And this year we're building even larger projects.
Wow, that's incredible. And you said your co-founder is also overseas. Was he or she also on an F1 visa? Or
Yes, he was on an F1 visa and he's a British citizen. And this year we both turned permanent residents of the US.
yeah. So it's funny because a lot of the founders that I speak to, they come here either on an F1 or they come on a work visa, and then they don't realize that because of their projects, because of their innovation, they're eligible to get those amazing self-petition. In your case, you got the EB1 because not only your achievements, but also the impact that you're making in the United States. Because this is a huge problem that you're solving right now. Americans are dying every day because of that, and people don't even realize, right?
Yeah, so I actually really appreciate this channel because if I know about it back then, I would have listened to it and then really learn about how different people build their career as an
Of
immigrant
course,
founder.
absolutely. Well, that's the reason why we're doing it. I think that one of the things that you came from China, right?
Yes,
Originally,
yeah.
and so while being in school, I had an F1 visa as well many years ago.
Oh, you do.
And I think one of the things that is interesting is that when we come from our countries to the US as part of our program to study here, and we form our opinion about what we want to do here, did you feel that while you're here on the F1 visa, you started getting ideas about possibilities that you didn't know are possible when you were in China, about building a company, about making changes in the world? How did it happen to you? Because for me, I was first semester in law school. I was like, you know what? I know that I can do things different. So I'm going to go and build this thing. So I'm curious about you. How did you, like, you come from China, you did your degree. Tell me a little bit about that mind process.
Hmm. So I'm always interested in using design to make impacts.
Right.
So at the beginning, I thought as an architect that is like a very perfect career path for myself because we're building things, we're making the world a better place. But after I worked, I realized we're so constrained by the clients, by the regulations. So there's no freedom in the designer route.
Right.
That's what really inspired me to think about, can I actively become the driver of the changes? So at Princeton, I started to look into entrepreneurship. I went to a lot of classes offered by the Innovation Center,
Yeah.
and I learned about venture capital. I learned about how to do accounting work, how to establish a business in the US. And I also went to a few programs that the university hosted for entrepreneurship. So they provided a limited funding for you to explore whatever business you want to propose in the course of 3 to 4 months. So after going through all of that processes, I'm like more confirmed this is something I'm very interested in doing. And then the idea of PolyGone came across because we're doing the research projects. So it's a very um, sweet point between
Right,
the research direction I'm taking and my personal interest of being a founder.
right,
And I think we're lucky that Princeton offered that platform for us to explore.
right. And also, I think that you're solving a real problem that needs to be. You're kind of like innovating a space that wasn't really innovated because of the education that you got in Princeton and your involvement in design. So I mean, that's I love it. Very impressive. You
Thank
know,
you.
Yidian, one of the things that I'm curious about. You know, you're a foreign founder. Your co-founder is a foreign founder. Um, the company, the people that work in your company, how many of them are from outside of the US? I'm talking about the employees and the researchers. And is there a mix in the company?
Yeah, so we have a lovely mix, around 50-50. 50% in our team are immigrants and 50% Native American citizens.
So, what do you think is the perspective that you and your team members that are not from the US are bringing to the company in terms of innovation, in terms of culture? What are some of the things that, as a foreign founder or as a foreign company manager, you feel that you bring to the table and your coworkers?
Uh, I think immigrants definitely takes a very different perspective into any business they're a part of.
Right,
Because if you are born and raised in one area, you are very used to how things are operated in this place. So
right,
any changes to the norm will be very unfamiliar. So I think immigrants, because they came from a very different culture, so they're already having the shock when they enter the territory. So they're more used to changes and something they're not comfortable with. So sometimes I prefer a lovely mix between um, people who are from this place and people who are not, so that we can really bash our ideas. Because people from here will give a better understanding of how things should operate in the US. And the immigrants can give a little bit idea about, okay, maybe we can also try to contact this kind of experts to support us in a very different way. So I really like that kind of dynamic in our team.
right. It also creates almost like a balance where your mind is thinking one way and another person from another place is thinking another way, and both combination creates this beautiful mix where we come up with solutions together, right?
Exactly. So I want to quote something from our pre-seed investor. So they're called Unshackled, and they focus on investing in immigrant
Another one.
founders, right? And then I was asking how did they select their team members? They told us they do not like to select people who are from a very similar background, because once there's like a very close circle, other people would not want to get in anymore. So that's what we follow. We like to have diversity in our team, so everyone feel comfortable joining our team.
I like that. And talking about investment, you know, I know you guys secured over 2.4 million recently for your round to build your company. Um, what will be some advice you think founders are watching this in the process of getting there, trying to meet with investors, sharing your idea, eventually getting to the point where somebody actually invests in you? What have you learned from that journey?
I think currently investors are looking for more solid tractions. So they're looking for more um, secure deals, clients, revenues, and things are not built rather than things are projected. And they will definitely check with all of our references, our existing partners and clients to confirm whether the data we cited are real. So if anyone's raising the current climate, be prepared more expectation or uh is the norm.
Right.
And also the timeline is longer than a few years ago. People
Yes.
are looking at probably 6 months plus for closing a round.
Wow.
Hmm.
I mean, this is important because I think people have a lot of different expectations because they read so many things, whether they are, depends on where they come from. But I think the reality is the things are changing right now in the VC world because people want to see more tangible things and they are not believing anything anymore unless they actually see it. And of course, they're going to, because it's just like, there was a time where anybody can raise money, especially with the AI craze. We had a lot
Yeah.
of, I spoke to a lot of entrepreneurs in the AI space. And what I love about what you do versus a few other people that I spoke to is because AI is such a space where you can barely understand anything. Like if you are telling somebody, okay, this tool can do this, and you don't really see it. In what you do is it's a tangible thing. So an investor can say, okay, we're changing lives. This is if it works, then we're gonna save humanity in a way. Versus okay, another AI tool that can help you, save 15 minutes of your coding time. You know what I mean? So I think it really depends on where you're getting into your industry. Um, you didn't. I think that right now the climate is changing, and there are a lot of things, and people are trying to live longer. And I think when I speak to entrepreneurs that are trying to improve the quality of life of people, whether it's what they eat or what they are preventing from getting into our bodies, there's a lot of innovation in that space because people really want to stay alive longer. Where do you think you're going with your innovation in the next 5 years or so into making this, the best way to clean our space from plastics? What do you guys are thinking about right now is the future?
Yeah, so we're really thinking about targeting the critical points of emission because let's be honest, we cannot have a system that is deployed at the ocean scale for microplastics. Maybe for larger plastic, but not for
Yeah,
microplastic. It's just not feasible. So the strategy is to really target the main areas, for example, wastewater treatment plants, industrial wastewater. So at those points where there's abnormally high level of microplastic getting into the water system, we want
yeah.
to stop them. And then if we have networks of those kind of barriers in place, we can actually make a trackable difference for how much microplastic we are able to reduce. And at the same time, I also would not mind collaborating with other companies who are maybe tackling the problem from more upstream level. For example, I know there are a lot of companies developing strategies for removing microplastic from laundry mats, from home laundry, that are also highly contaminated with microplastics. So I think the real solution comes in a network of different players doing different things at different stages of the entire water system.
And I think that as you explain that more, I feel people that are understanding the value of even doing, because I'm thinking to myself, an investor that was going to invest in you, those investors, do they see that your company is providing a solution that can be, global scale, or they're doing it because they believe in you, Edith, as the founder? Because I think that's actually a big question that I get asked a lot by the founders that come to the show. Do you think that they're investing in both of you guys because of your vision and how you are as a human? Or they really thought that this idea that Polygon is coming is so revolutionary that doesn't matter who runs this company. We're gonna go after the idea.
I think it's both because a lot of our investors are very resonated with our mission.
Uh-huh.
And then our technology also is very easy to scale, I would say, in comparison to some of the other technologies,
Right.
because hardware always have difficulties for scaling. So the more compatible we make them to fit with existing infrastructure, the easier they can be adopted. So a large piece is about how we design our system. And then lastly, I think is on both my co-founder and myself, because we did come from a very hardware and construction oriented background. So we have the experience to bring things from a concept to a grounded solution. And I think a lot of investors do like that aspect of the team.
Right. I mean, I can definitely tell by just by talking to you for a little bit is that you have a very solid, structured presence, which creates a lot of confidence, whether you're working with you or for you, but also investing in you because you're somebody that doesn't give up on if you try. I feel it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like that because, it's uh, speaking to so many founders, you start getting almost like an analysis of traits or a foundation of what it takes to be really a good founder. And I think that, in my perspective, it's also knowing what you do, obviously, and having a good idea, but also
Mm.
being somebody that is very flexible and adaptable. And being, I don't know what you think about this, but being a foreign global founder, growing up in China, what do you think some of the things that you brought to the company and to you, your journey as a founder from your upbringing, from your culture?
Uh, I think flexibility. I think in Asia a lot of people would work crazy hours and try
Right.
crazy method to make things on time, build on time. And I think I do respect that because I did work in Asia for a few positions, and then everyone is always being very flexible, both on site and on their desk. For example, like if certain things could not arrive on time and you have the grand opening next week, right? We have to come up with something that is off the shelf and make sure it functions in the interim. And a lot of my previous work was to do with projects like that. So that really taught me um, to be very flexible in how we execute a project, especially with a very difficult site.
Love that. Yeah, because
Mm.
again, we have to take advantage of our background. And like I said, I'm originally I'm a mix. My family is from Moldova and from Israel. It's kind of like you have the dedication where if we say something, we have to do it. Our word is our bond, and I think it's important to we bring something from each culture. For me, it's like if I commit to something, I'll do whatever it takes to make sure it happens. Versus a lot of people here that I feel in the U.S. Um, were like, oh, they told me they're gonna meet me at this time, but they never showed up, and I found it to be very weird because I would never do that, right? It's like I don't know how it is in New York, but in California, it's very kind of it's very surface level, and it was very hard for me to accept it in the beginning because for my country, if I tell you that I'm going to be here at this time and I will help you to move, I will show up. It's not like, oh yeah, let's see each other. You know what I mean? It's very kind of so you learn how to adapt to this by living in the U.S. But those are cultural things that we learn. Let's talk about the Forbes 30 under 30 fellow. I know you were part of that, and I'm just curious to understand first of all how were you how did you selected, and what does it mean for you to be part of that list?
Yeah, so to be honest, we submitted that year because my co-founder was 29 and this is his last chance to be selected. And we didn't expect us to get it, so we just entered the form and we asked like our investor to do the same. And then they just told us you are selected. So I actually
Oh
don't
yeah,
know internally what is the decision making process, but I kind of feel like they're looking at the traction. So how many projects you build, what are the impact of the solution up to this date, how much funding you have secured, etc. So I think that because we already have the pilot back then, so it presents well to the community that the impact is real and it's tangible. So we were selected under the social impact category. And I think Forbes does have a very strong global image. So after being selected on the list, not only we got access to a network of very smart people, young people, but also a lot of people externally recognize this um, this title, and then they would definitely give us more respect and trust, despite we may not know each other beforehand.
What does it mean to you personally, now that you're being recognized within these
I'm
circles?
super. I'm super honored. Like I was on the plane on when they announced
Right?
it, and then I landed in America, and then the first thing I saw on my phone was like, "Congratulations, you are in the cohort." I was like, "What?"
Wow.
That completely unexpected. And I always wanted to be on the list because I highly respect other individuals who made it to the list in the previous year. So when when they accepted us, I feel hugely inspired.
I mean, it's amazing. Like when I was reading your background, I was like, wow, it's you've done a lot in a short amount of time. And bringing talking about that, one of the things that I like to ask foreign founders is, you come from China, I come from Europe, but I feel like our parents, they have somehow an impact on our growth and what we achieved. How, I mean, again, I don't know your relationship with your parents, but what impact did your parents have on your success? And even today that you're continuing to grow, are you
Mm.
involving them in your decisions, in your success stories? I'm always curious about that. And some people, it doesn't work because they're not close to their parents. But if it is, I'll be curious to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my parents have huge impacts on me. I'm the only child of the
I felt
family.
that. That's why I asked you that question.
Yeah, I'm the a product of the only child policy. But I feel like my parents are both very trusting of me. So from a young age, they let me to lead whatever I want to do. So when I decided to study abroad, they didn't support me any of like the school selection, anything. They just think I should be able to get it done, and I did. And my dad is a workaholic. He still
Oh,
works 15 hours a day, and then
wow.
he works in the university as a professor. So he loves his subject, and he is also super high energy. So I think he just obsessed with work and was able to pull through from his passion. And I also think I have a little bit of that. I'm very high energy. I can
I can feel it.
stay excited on something for a long period of time, and I think that's a gift from him. And my mom is um very strong in soft skills. So she's very sensitive to people's tone and emotions. I think in developing a business, that is very essential. So I always refer to her when I was experiencing relationship, partnership kind of questions.
I love that. No, I mean, I think it's so important because, at the end of the day, we're building all these things. There has to be a reason why we're doing it. And it comes from a place of, it's subconsciously in your brain because you got it from your family. And that's the legacy you continue to move forward. There's one question that I always ask, the same question, all my guests.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you
Yes.
this question now.
Yeah.
Um, if you had to go back to your 14-year-old Yidian, 15-year-old child,
Okay.
and you could give her an advice based on the experience that you already gained so far, what would you tell her that could help her become a better entrepreneur, a better a person as she builds the business? Maybe maybe you wouldn't say anything, but maybe you would say something like a skill that she should learn. Or I'll give you an example. For me, when somebody asked me this question, I said, I wish as a 14-year-old, I would have learned to ask better questions because I was very shy and I never asked questions. And if I was able to do that, I feel like I would have been a better um, person or a business person today. That's personally me. But for you,
Uh, Let me think.
it's a tough
I
one.
have I have so many things to to teach my own self. I think learning the soft skills at an
Uh-huh.
earlier stage. I think I was being too
I agree.
direct and blunt.
Oh, okay. As a
Since
14-year-old?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think I learned my lesson the harsh way. I got a lot of um I would say rejections because the way I communicate.
Okay,
So I think if I can improve my communication skills at a younger age, I would be even better now.
that's amazing. No, I love that.
Mm.
That's a beautiful tool. And finally, Eden, any tip you will want to share for somebody who's starting the journey? They just came here, they got their visa, and they want to build a startup. What is the one thing today, 2025, you would share with somebody that is asking you for advice? A female founder,
Uh,
male founder.
Female founders, okay. I would say, if possible, find a reliable co-founder because the journey is very tedious, it's very unstable. So if you can find a reliable person to work along with, it's gonna be so much um stable than being on this journey on your own. And in terms of visa, I think just try different avenues. I have filed, I think, absolutely all kinds of visa that I could, and then I think I should really intern at like a attorney's office for giving people advice of being an immigrant entrepreneur. So try diverse ways of filing your visa. Maybe one of them would work. And we got we were not that lucky at the beginning. We almost got deported from the US due to like a system error. So
Oh,
the
wow.
yeah, even we were on the F1 visa, when we turned OPT, there's a code issue with the visa center. They thought we do not have the STEM OPT, but we do. So we had to make very quick appeals to the visa center.
Oh,
And
wow.
that almost ended up us having to leave the US. So it was hugely risky. So I will also recommend everyone to think about, are you ready for all of the scenarios at the cost of you may have to leave the US earlier than a regular career path. If you're ready for that, I would say go for it and at full force. Try absolutely everything you could to make it work.
Absolutely. I mean, the visa challenges for farmers is something that people don't even realize. Not only people have to leave, sometimes they lose investments because they can't stay here. So
Yeah,
they're horrible
yeah.
stories, but I agree. Thank you so much, Yidian. If somebody wants to find Polygon, what is the best place to find? What is the website, or where would you
Yeah.
like people to connect with you?
So on our website, PolyGoneSystems.com, there's a contact form. If you fill in that form, that goes directly to my inbox. So
Oh,
if
okay,
anyone
that's good to
has
know.
any, yeah,
We're gonna
if
share
anyone,
the all the links in the show notes. So if anybody wants to connect with Yidian or learn about Polygon systems, it's the best place to do. Thank you so much, Yidian. It was a pleasure.
thank you,
You're
Jacob.
inspiring in so many ways, and I think that you guys are going to be a massive force in that space. I can
Oh,
predict.
thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a
you so
nice
much.
day. Bye bye.